Today we're talking about a nasty malvertising campaign pushing multi-stage PowerShell malware, critical fixes from Zoom and Xerox for serious bugs, Fortinet's warning about a pre-auth remote code execution issue, a new ransomware strain hitting the Middle East, Proofpoint's proof-of-concept downgrade attack that tricks users into bypassing FIDO, the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office going dark after a cyber incident, and Microsoft's decision to yank PowerShell 2.0 from modern Windows builds. Today is Thursday, August 14th, 2025. I'm Arun from the Sackmaster, host of this podcast. You're listening to the Daily Security Updates podcast. Thanks for joining us today. It's great to have you with us. Our first story comes courtesy of Cisco Talos. Researchers spotted a malvertising campaign distributing a multi-stage malware framework dubbed PS1 Bot. The attackers lure victims with malicious ads and SEO poison search results. Victims download a zip file containing JavaScript that reaches out to a remote server, writes a PowerShell script to disk, and executes it, pulling down additional modules. The framework is modular. Once it's in memory, it can load plugins for antivirus detection, screen capture, cryptocurrency wallet theft, key logging, system reconnaissance, and persistence. PS1 Bot has technical similarities with the AutoHotkey-based AHK bot previously used by T88886 and other groups. Because everything runs in memory and deletes itself, there's little forensic evidence. This campaign targets typical Windows users, particularly those searching for cracked software or crypto tools. And the impact could include password and wallet seed theft, full system compromise, and follow-on ransomware. To protect yourself, steer clear of shady download sites and ads, use reputable ad blockers and script blockers, keep browsers and operating systems up to date, and deploy endpoint protection that can detect in-memory threats. Companies should implement application whitelisting and monitor PowerShell activity to catch unusual execution. Next up, Zoom and Xerox released critical security updates. Zoom fixed an untrusted search path vulnerability, CVE 2549457, in its Windows client with a whopping 9.6 CVSS score. Without the patch, an unauthenticated attacker could load malicious DLLs over the network and gain local privilege escalation. The issue affects Zoom Workplace for Windows and related VDI, Rooms, and SDK components before version 6.3.10. Xerox's FreeFlow Core print workflow software also harbored two dangerous flaws: CVE 258355, an XML external entity injection, and CVE 258356, a path traversal leading to remote code execution. Exploiting them could allow arbitrary command execution, data theft, and lateral movement. The fix is to upgrade to version 8.0.4. If you're an IT admin, patch Zoom to at least 6.3.10 and Xerox FreeFlow to 8.0.4 immediately. Tighten application whitelisting and restrict network access for printing servers, and monitor for suspicious processes spawned by print or conferencing apps.
Our third story is a critical Fortinet advisory. Fortinet warns customers about CVE 2025-125256, an OS command injection flaw in FortiSIEM with a near-perfect CVSS score of 9.8. The vulnerability allows unauthenticated attackers to send crafted CLI requests and execute arbitrary commands. Versions from 6.1 through 7.3.1 are vulnerable, while 7.4 is safe. Fortinet confirmed that exploit code is already circulating in the wild and may not generate obvious indicators of compromise. The recommended action is to upgrade to the fixed releases and, as a workaround, restrict access to the PHY monitor port 7900. Because exploits are happening, network defenders should apply patches quickly, block unneeded management ports at the firewall, and monitor for unusual command execution. Keep backups offline in case of compromise, and consider segmenting the FortiSIEM server from the rest of the network.
And now let's talk about Charon ransomware. Trend Micro has discovered a new ransomware family targeting the Middle East public sector and aviation industry. The threat actor uses APT-style techniques like DLL sideloading, process injection, and EDR evasion, reminiscent of the China-linked group Earthbaxia. Attackers disguise a malicious DLL, SWRDLDR, as a legitimate Age.exe utility to sideload the Charon payload. Once inside, Charon terminates security services, deletes shadow copies and backups, and uses multi-threading and partial encryption to speed up file locking. The malware even includes a driver compiled from the open-source Dark Kill project to disable endpoint protection via a BYOVD attack, although that function wasn't used in the observed runs. Ransom notes are customized to name the victim organization, suggesting these are targeted attacks. It's unclear if Earth-Baxia is directly involved, if it's a false flag operation, or if a new group is copying their tradecraft. With 57% of organizations experiencing ransomware in the last year and only 41% recovering all their data after paying, the best defenses remain robust backups, zero-trust segmentation, strict patch management, endpoint monitoring, and user training. Disable unnecessary software that can be abused for DLL sideloading, and test restoration procedures regularly. In another story, Proofpoint researchers demonstrated a downgrade attack that bypasses FIDO authentication in Microsoft Entra ID. The researchers built a custom fishlet for the Evil Jinx adversary in the middle kit that spoofs Safari on Windows, a browser not compatible with FIDO on Entra ID. When the victim clicks a phishing link, the proxy shows the legitimate Entra ID login page, but tells the service that the browser doesn't support FIDO. This forces Microsoft's login system to fall back to weaker methods like authenticator push notifications, SMS codes, or one-time passwords. If the victim enters those credentials, the attacker harvests both the username password and session cookie. Although Proofpoint hasn't seen the technique in active attacks yet, it highlights a gap in FIDO implementations. Users should be wary of any site that unexpectedly falls back to SMS or app-based MFA, verify URLs before entering credentials, and never approve unexpected authentication prompts. Administrators can reduce risk by disabling weak fallback methods, enforcing FIDO-only login policies where possible, and training users to recognize suspicious login flows. Our sixth headline: the Office of the Pennsylvania Attorney General suffered a major cyber incident. Attorney General Dave Sunday announced that the network hosting the office's systems is down. Its website, email accounts, and landline phone lines are offline, while staff work with law enforcement to investigate. Although no ransomware gang has claimed credit, the wide-reaching disruption has all the hallmarks of a ransomware attack. Security researcher Kevin Beaumont noted that the office had public-facing Citrix NetScaler appliances vulnerable to CVE 2025.77.7 Citrix Bleed 2. Shodan data shows one of the devices went offline on July 29 and another on August 7th. Shadow Server reported that over 3,300 NetScaler appliances remain unpatched worldwide. The Netherlands National Cybersecurity Center says the flaw has been exploited as a zero-day since early May to breach multiple critical organizations, and the Netherlands Public Prosecution Service also reported significant disruption from a related breach. CISA has placed CVE 2025.77.7 on its known exploited vulnerabilities catalog and ordered federal agencies to patch promptly. If you manage Citrix appliances, apply the vendor's patches immediately, restrict remote access, and monitor for signs of compromise. Government offices should maintain offline backups and incident response playbooks to maintain continuity during outages. Finally, Microsoft is officially pulling the plug on PowerShell 2.0. The 14-year-old command interpreter introduced with Windows 7 will be removed from Windows 11 and version 24H2 starting in August 2025, and from Windows Server 2025 in September. Microsoft says this is part of an effort to reduce legacy code and improve security. For most users, it's a non-issue because modern versions like PowerShell 5.1 and 7X are still available and backward compatible. However, organizations running legacy scripts or older server products such as Exchange, SharePoint, or SQL Server that explicitly depend on PowerShell 2.0 will need to update those scripts or use a workaround. Microsoft recommends migrating to PowerShell 5.1 or 7 and replacing outdated software that cannot function without the deprecated version. If you rely on old scripts, test them against newer PowerShell versions now to avoid disruptions and benefit from improved security features. That's a wrap for today's edition of the Daily Security Updates podcast. Stay vigilant, keep your systems patched, and don't forget to educate your team about the latest attack vectors. Keep visiting the SecMaster for more cybersecurity updates. Thanks for listening, thanks for being with us and supporting us. We'll catch you next time.